Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. We're also on Sun City Radio in Cape Town. Facebook, we're streaming live and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Clenham Radio in Baton, Radio Justice in Tamale, Sky FM in Sunyang, and A1 Radio in Bogatanga. For our digital outlets, it includes the myjoyonline.com app and Spotify. In this edition, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta currently locked up in a meeting with both sides of Parliament as battle lines are drawn as the NDC and NPP MPs prepare to face off in Parliament over the 2022 budget. This afternoon, experts are calling for coup heads over the disagreements.
But at this point, I think we need to have some common sense play out here.
And as the minority holds on to their demand for government to meet certain conditions, an economist is warning it may impact negatively on the economy.
It will throw the entire budget out of gear. And given the debt overhang that, and the interest payments and then the statutory payments that really give the budget no flexibility.
We'll also hear the expert or the perspective of a constitutional lawyer on the way forward as the Speaker of Parliament reacts to his medical trip in Dubai. We'll also hear later from former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who wants government to acquire more shares in the mining and oil industries as a way of generating more revenue for the country.
We have been going to Eurobond market to borrow. Can't you go and borrow to buy shares in the oil business, to invest in the mining industry, so that we become part owners?
And he's been answering the big question whether he will run for the NDC flag bearer position.
We have not opened any nomination for presidency. Let us get to the river and we will cross it. When we are crossing, we'll tell you, we are here now, help us to cross it.
And this afternoon, also, health experts are charging authorities to brace themselves for the entry of the COVID-19 Omicron strain into Ghana, as they warn border restrictions alone will not prevent it from entering the country.
It has a potential of causing another massive wave across the world. Whether you protect your borders or not, this virus will enter through every part of the country and succeed in achieving its wave.
We have details of that in sports.
It is number 7 for Lionel Messi as he was crowned Ballon d'Or winner for the 7th time. My colleague Guy Smith was there and has details of the background stories.
And we'll take a trip also to Northeast Region community of Lukula that's been deserted days after renewed land and chieftaincy conflict forced scores of residents to flee into bushes. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. And this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. We'll start off from Parliament, where all the action is going on, because the Parliamentary Hansard will today still reflect how proceedings ended last Friday, that Parliament voted to reject the 2022 budget statement and economic policy of the government. The majority side will, however, make a move to overturn that decision. Their case is that when the Speaker proposed the question or posed the question, there were not up to 138 parliamentarians present at the time to vote as required by law. Success or otherwise of this move will be known very soon. But we'll be in Parliament shortly, where we know that the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is in a meeting with a joint caucus of Parliament over this particular issue before Parliament resumes sittings today. But before that, a constitutional lawyer, Professor Kofi Abuchi, who is also the Dean of the University of Professional Studies Law Faculty, is unclear whether the Supreme Court will be willing to interpret the dictates of Article 104, which stipulates that more than half of MPs must be present for such a decision to be valid.
The jurisprudence of the Supreme Court over the years have tended to shy away from dabbling in the business of Parliament. In fact, the Supreme Court has decided, in the case of Tufo and Attorney General, that the business of Parliament is a closed book. In fact, it was described as a black box. Nobody knows what's in there, and nobody wants to know what's in there. And Parliament has variously been described as a master of its own proceedings. And therefore, what Parliament does is Parliament's determination is said to be dispositive. What Parliament decides is conclusive. And the courts don't ordinarily, open what Parliament has decided and inquire into that. So that is going to be one of the limitations on any attempt by the court to want to go into this, except that the caveat has been stated that in respect of Parliament being a master of its own proceedings, when it comes to express breaches of constitutional provisions, those ones the court can intervene and make a determination. So that's the only caveat in this instance, because we seem to have a clear case of Article 104 being a clear case of a constitutional provision, as opposed to, say, the standing orders of Parliament, in respect of which normally the court will say we don't want to have anything to do with that.
Now, the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Rahman, wants both sides to reach a consensus on the matter.
But at this point, I think we need to have some common sense play out here. I don't think that, the First Deputy Speaker is now going to preside. That means that their side is reduced by one. And from my understanding, it looks like even on Friday, there was one member
was
the
missing.
majority
Yes.
was missing. So assuming that member still is not in Parliament, you go the legal way, then what we are trying to do now is to say we are shutting the door for negotiation and for compromise.
Okay.
And I think that's, for me, that would not be something.
Now, as you may be aware, the NDC minority have put forward demands, including the suspension of the electronic transaction levy, withdrawal of the Ejapa mineral royalties deal, and inclusion of budgetary provision for the Blekusu Sea Defence Project. It's unclear if government will comply, but an economist with the University of Ghana, Dr. Eric Osiesibe, is warning the demands may impact negatively on the economy.
The budget is looking to raise certain amount of revenue, about 100 billion. And that is the amount of revenue that is going to be disbursed along compensation payments for government workers, for interest payments, for capital expenditure, and all of that. And so some of it, which I think that it is definitely going to be difficult for the budget or for the finance ministry to make compromises on, largely because it will throw the entire budget out of gear. And if you know how government finances, given the debt overhang that, and the interest payments, and then the statutory payments that really give the budget no flexibility, it is definitely going to be difficult for the finance minister to, compromise on some of the demands that have been put forward. Of course, some of it can be readjusted and then revised to meet them halfway, so to speak. But to take everything on board, I think that it definitely will not help the budget as it stands.
That's an economist, Dr. Eric Osiesibe. Let's go live to Parliament now and join our correspondent, Pakwesi Wilson. So, Paka, we know that yesterday there were separate meetings of both sides. Today we are learning of a joint caucus meeting with the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, in attendance. What are you learning or gleaning from the meeting?
So, MFR, the Finance Minister walked into this meeting just about 10-15 minutes ago, and we understand that his request to Parliament last Friday to engage the leadership further is what is going to happen. The minority has made 3 demands now, and they're asking the government to concede. And so the finance minister is here today or this morning to try and build consensus with the minority for the future of the 2022 budget. So that is the meeting that they are in currently. In fact, you are told that this meeting should have happened yesterday, but of course, some of the leadership were not available at the time, particularly those from the government that were not available. And that is why they rescheduled the meeting to today. So proceedings itself is yet to start because no member of parliament is around, just the member of parliament for Ishaya, so Speaker Stephen Amwa, who is around. So that is what we are learning from this meeting.
Well, so we know that yesterday, before the end of that, the separate meetings, the minority had 5 demands that government had to meet before. These were the conditions we were putting out before they accept the budget. It was then whittled down to 3. Do we know if there's an acceptance or a compromise of a sort on that?
Well, so that is what we are yet to learn, whether government would accept the views of the minority so that there could be an amendment to the budget for Parliament to approve it. So until then, we cannot say for a fact that they have accepted it. But we do understand that the majority is open for, they are amenable to some of the changes that the minority is demanding. So it's likely that there may be some changes with the 2022 budget, and perhaps today we might get the budget approved. That's the information we are getting from the caucus.
But what's the sense you get in terms of the mood and posturing of both sides of the House?
Well, it appears there is now some level of calm within the members of the House. The notice was served to the majority that if they file a motion of rescission, they are going to lose that. But let me quickly just engage Stephen Amwa briefly, the Inshaeso MP, quickly on that. We understand there is a meeting going on currently with the conversation and the sourcing. What are you learning? I mean, is the majority now going to concede the demands of the minority?
I cannot stand here and make any arbitrary statement out of what you're saying, because we have a few issues that we have to resolve. We have they have their issues. I think there should be, a new point of convergence defined by all stakeholders and make sure that at the end of the day, the most important factor is the good people of this country. We should place Ghana at the center of this issue.
But is government amenable to changes that the minorities are concerned?
It depends on how they should be able to put to us. Why should we change it? And I'm sure that was why the finance minister humbly asked that we met as stakeholders so that they will look at it and make amends if they want. If the finance minister was not ready, he wouldn't have said. So even for the House not to agree to his prayer, is why other people are saying that probably my brothers had due diligence position. But whichever way, I'm saying that today, by tomorrow, the two parties should come together, build the needed cohesion and consensus, and approve this budget for the betterment of this country and for the ordinary Canadian.
That's Dr. Stephen Amwa there interacting with parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson there ahead of that parliamentary sit-in today. We get to know what exactly happened to the 2022 budget, and he's been reporting that the finance minister is currently in a joint caucus meeting with members of parliament. But earlier, the speaker of parliament, Alban Bagbing, also issued a statement. There were concerns about his trip to the United Arab Emirates for medical checkup. Elton Brobe joins me in studio with a copy of the statement issued from the Speaker's office. What does it say, Elton?
MFI says that the Speaker is accompanied on this trip by 4 officials to the exclusion of his aide, the camp protocol officer, butler, and other relevant staff. The Speaker's office will again like to state that as part of their conditions of service, Speakers of Parliament are entitled to such routine medical checkup, just like officials of the executive and the judiciary arm of government. It is knowledge that most staff of some ministries, departments, and agencies also have similar facilities at their disposal and continue to take advantage of such arrangement to their benefits. Indeed, the records of parliamentary service are replete with evidence that points to the fact that all speakers of the Fourth Republic have at one time or the other accessed this facility. The statement goes on to say that it is not only the Speaker of Parliament and his deputies that are entitled to such facility, and that the entire leadership of the House are also entitled to same facilities and continually resort to it when needed. And it's a long say. Let me conclude by saying that the Speaker says his office will advise that the health issues of the Speaker and that of other office bearers are not politicized, as anybody could be taken ill at any time. It is undeniable fact that the membership of the House is one whole group with a common agenda, and the Speaker, according to the statement, will return to the country on the 14th of December. This statement is signed by Magnus Kofi Amwate, the Speaker's Council.
Well, it's clear Speaker Alban Bagbing will not be in attendance today, and it remains to be seen what happens once issues get to voting status. But we're bringing you all the details from Parliament, also live on myjoyonline.com and, of course, on the Joy News channel as well. But we'll stay on issues regarding the 1.75 e-levy, because the former Finance Minister, Dr. Kobna Dufo, has been speaking about it, and he says government should have introduced it gradually. Dr. Dufo, who is also the founder and president of Institute of Fiscal Studies, noted that the current 1.75 is too high, adding governments must assess how citizens receive levies, as that can enable them sustain the trend.
I think 1.57, I may say it's a bit high. Maybe it should come down a bit, because it's the first time we're doing it. maybe we should start gradually and see how the people will receive it. We say in all taxation, the incidence is very critical. What I'm taking, how would the payer respond to it? And next year, will he be able to pay even bigger one for me? So the incidence of taxation in public finance is very critical.
So you say it's a bit too high. What would you propose be the percentage?
Let Parliament complete the discussion today or this week, and we'll see.
Well, speaking on the Super Morning Show, he's also been talking about what he would have done if he was the finance minister.
I would have looked at the extractive industry. I mean, the minerals, the mining. I think we can have a deal with them even right now. Because if you look at what our peers like Botswana and Nigeria are raking in, Botswana is smaller than Ghana. They live on diamonds mainly. And their diamonds reserves are not bigger than our gold reserves at all. And if you look at the figures, we exported over $6 billion of gold. How much came in? Because of the model we have. And you go to the mining, the oil, the law was made when we do not have more than 16 to 20%. Nigeria has over 51%. So they break 51% of their revenue from oil. We about 16, 20. All that I'm saying that is that we can sit down with them now that we're in difficulty. Let's talk to them. Let's negotiate with them. I'm sure they will understand. We're not going to take it for free. We have been going to Eurobond market to borrow. Can't you go and borrow to buy shares in the oil business? Can't you go and borrow to invest in the mining industry so that we become part owners?
Acknowledging that he has not fully read details of the Ijapa royalties deal, Dr. Dufour, however, shared this advice with regards to the mining sector, especially regarding gold.
In Japan, when I was finance minister, the issue cropped up. How do we maximize our royalties? You know, when I became the finance minister, it was 3%. And it's been so for years. I looked at the royalties in the neighboring countries. Theirs were 7%, 8%. Ours was 3%. So I went to my boss, said, boss, this is what I observed. What do we do? I think we should raise it to 6%. I said, yeah, let's do it. So I went to Parliament and asked for 6%. In the end, I had 5%. We came back and consulted my Attorney General, Martin Abidu, who did the brilliant job and advised me what I should do. Because of this, we had to pass a bill which was referred to the Minerals Development Act. But they did not move forward to complete the Ghana Gold agenda. And a new government came, looked at it, modified the law, and they moved ahead with it. So in principle, trying to maximize the royalties and our gold interest is something we should pursue.
Well, you may have heard him talk about the Ghanaian dream. He's been telling Winston Amoy and Kojo Yankson about it.
The Ghanaian dream is simple this. Let us create opportunity for all Ghanaians to rise and achieve what they want to achieve without any hindrances. Let us try to create a level playing field for them. Let's have a government that will help provide an environment so that we will flourish, all of us.
Now let's hear Dr. Dufour answer the big question about his intentions of running for the topmost position in the NDC.
We have not got to the river. How do you cross it? Let us get to the river and we will cross it. When we are crossing, we'll tell you, we are here now, help us to cross it. As of now, the focus should be on the party. You see, people are trying to draw wedge between people like me and John Mahama and so on within the party. There's something between us, but I pray that those people will fail, will have a strong party, will work towards the elections, and the leaders will emerge. And then we'll win the elections to glorify God.
That's Dr. Kwabna Dufour there in that interaction with Kojo Yankson and Winston Namwa on the Super Morning Show. I'll take you to the Ashanti region now, where the Ghana Grid Company Limited and the Electricity Company of Ghana say it will be difficult to issue a load shedding timetable in the wake of recent unstable power in Kumasi. It comes after consumers demanded a timetable to help plan and avert losses in their businesses. So power consumers in Greater Kumasi therefore will have to endure what has become known as doom so every evening until December 20. Now, this was reviewed at a joint press conference by the Energy Ministry, Power Producers and Distributing Agencies in Kumasi. My colleague Prince Apia was there for us and joins us on the line. Prince, so really, there's nothing at all that can be done about the situation. Is that what the joint press conference tended to communicate?
What the leadership of the joint press conference were saying is that currently they are working on the damaged transmission line, and it will be only after December 20 that things can get back to normal. But as of now, there's nothing they can do about it. Consumers would have to endure what has become known as the doom in the evening until the situation is fixed.
Well, we can hear from Vincent Boachi, who is the Director for Northern Network Services.
This is how the Asafo Printing Press Enclave used to be before the recent...
Well, apologies for that. We're rather bringing you Prince Apia's report from earlier, his interaction with residents and the frustrations they had expressed. But it turns out they will have to wait until December 20 because they would have to endure the situation. The Ghana Grid Company Limited and the Electricity Company of Ghana say they will not be able to release a timetable in the wake of the recent unstable power in the area. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. Our top story has been looking at the battle lines that have been drawn as the NDC and NPP MPs prepare to face off in Parliament over the 2022 budget statement, and the Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta is currently locked up in a joint caucus meeting with both sides. When we return, we'll do sports, and then also we'll hear from health experts who are charging authorities to brace themselves for the entry of the COVID-19 Omicron strain into Ghana, as they warn border restrictions alone will not prevent it from entering the country.
It has a potential of causing another massive wave across the world. Whether you protect your borders or not, this virus will enter through every part of the country and succeed in achieving its wave.
We'll hear also from the Ghana Medical Association on that, and we'll head to the Northeast Region community of Lukula. It's been deserted days after renewed land and chieftaincy conflict forced scores of residents to flee into bushes. Do stay with us. We're right back.
It's Hollandia yogurt, a nourishing snack. Check. Vitality. Check. Taste. Check. Vitamins, calcium. Check. It's Hollandia yogurt. It's Hollandia yogurt. Hollandia yogurt.
Enjoy a nourishing boost of vitality with Hollandia yogurt. Available in strawberry and plain sweetened, fortified with vitamins A, B2, B12, and a source of calcium. Grab a pack of nourishment and level up. This advert is FDA approved.
Many thanks for your company. Let's do sports now.
Lionel Messi has called on Ballon d'Or organizers to hand the 2020 award to Robert Lewandowski. The Argentine skipper, who won his 7th Ballon d'Or crown on Monday, believes using COVID as an excuse is flawed. My colleague Gary Housemate has more.
Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi.
Leo Messi won his 7th. Magnificent 7 for Leo Messi. The Ballon d'Or now well and truly is his property. The interesting question is something that he hinted and alluded to. Is there anybody who can break it? You had a sense from the way he answered that he does not think that anybody can do it. The next person in the numerical game is Cristiano Ronaldo, his great rival. But it seemed like Messi knows and knew that it will be almost impossible for Cristiano to win another 2 to catch up to him. Thus, probably today is the day that cements Leo's legacy as the greatest of all time when it comes to this game we call football. But just before Leo went, he made a request for the 3rd time of the France football guys and officials. He asked them, we are told, to consider Robert Lewandowski getting the 2020 award belatedly. It looks like it means a lot to Messi, and we are told that it's something that France football will take seriously because from a PR point of view it makes sense. Giving it to the Polish for a year in which he did really well, and in a year which the excuse for which he was not given does not really make sense to a lot of us, and certainly Messi feels strongly about it as well.
That is my colleague Gary Smith telling us about Messi's request for the organizers of Ballon d'Or to hand the 2020 edition to Robert Lewandowski.
Okay. Well, we hope that lies in his power. And that's it for sports. Thank you. But let's head to the Northeast region community of Lukula. And it remains deserted days after renewed land and chieftaincy conflict between the Gonjas and the Mamprusis. And that has forced scores of residents, including women and children, to flee into bushes. The Regional Security Council has since deployed police and military teams to prevent violence. But many of the residents have refused to return to the area, fearing a possible fight between the two factions. Correspondent Ilyas Sutanko joins us on the line with details of this. So what would it take for them to return?
Well, they want the presence of the continuous presence of the security in that area. They also want authorities to step in. Authorities, the security councils of the Northeast and the Savannah Region Council, they want them to come in and give them assurance that the security are going to be in the community before they will return.
Okay, but monitoring the situation on the ground, what can you report?
Well, the people that have fled in these communities, some of them are currently living with their family and friends in nearby communities. Some of them are actually, like you said in the report, that some of them are actually expressing fear that there could be violence because of what happened on Saturday. And so they are still calling on authorities to resolve this particular issue immediately.
Well, we can hear from the regional minister on this.
Yesterday at about 11 a.m., deployment of police and military were sent to the area to try to get the armed warriors out of the town. And I think that was done. The common enemy in the north is poverty. And that is what we should fight. Issues about land are matters that fall within the purview of chief. And so for me, what I would say is that if there's any problem that has to do with land or chieftaincy, let's allow the traditional authorities to handle that.
Hidana Zakari is the regional minister. Now get ready for the Omicron strain. That's the charge of health experts to Ghanaian authorities as they warn border restrictions and travel bans alone will not prevent the highly transmissible Omicron from entering Ghana. Last Sunday, the Ghana Health Service announced that a step in surveillance at the country's land and air borders in a bid to prevent the new strain, which has been declared by the WHO as a variant of concern from entering the country. Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje is Director General of the Ghana Health Service.
We have not identified one in Ghana. All people who are tested positive at the airport are sequenced, the samples are sequenced, so they've reported all of them. We also pick samples from our reference labs across the country to do sequencing. Currently, they have a bunch of about 160 that they are working on now, but there's been no indication of Omicron in Ghana.
But virologist with the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Dr. Michael Owusu, says border control measures will not be able to prevent the strain from entering the country. He explains.
It has a potential of causing another massive wave across the world. Whether you protect your borders or not, this virus will enter through every part of the country and succeed in achieving its wave. It is good to put in the best of mechanisms in terms of testing and ensuring that people don't come to your country with the variant. But you can't stop it. No country can stop a new variant from penetrating.
That's Dr. Michael Owusu. The Ghana Medical Association is reaffirming this position as well. In a statement, the body says health authorities must roll out strategies to efficiently monitor and control a possible spread of the virus. Well, as we get ready for the Christmas festivities, a free ahenema and 2 yards of kente are ready for you to pick up at the Junction Mall if you visit the Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair from the 2nd to the 5th of December 2021. Well, you're in that race with me. Well, the fair will showcase everything made in Ghana, from clothes to instruments to bathing soaps and creams. Speaking to Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hits on Hits FM, CEO of Savida Bonre Kente Sarkodie Ado assures patrons these juicy offers are up for grabs when you visit the fair.
We have a lot to be displayed. We have the royal kente, the ordinary kente, and the casual wear kente as well. And this year, we have given our customers a package, a special package, where you buy any of our 6-year design, irrespective of the price. We are giving you a Hinman for free. We have already some other artifacts like kente shirt, kente smoke. We have bikini. We have slippers, normal slippers and Birkenstock slippers. We have kente trousers, shoes, and the rest available. Just buy something that worth above 1,000 Ghana cedis. We will give you additional 2 years for free and add one Ahinema on top of it. That's our package for you this Christmas.
And the countdown is on. It's the Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair at the Junction Mall from the 2nd to the 5th. Everything made in Ghana will be on display. You can't miss it. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. There are more stories on myjoyonline.com, including beware of Kabuki dance to reverse irreversible rejection of 2022 budget. Martin Amidu there. In another epistle, majority and minority meet separately ahead of fresh discussions on 2022 budget. That and more on myjoyonline.com. But in the meantime, watch what you say. Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otabil. I am MFA Pao. Many thanks for your company.
When you want it, just Momo it. When you tire for the long queue in the supermarket, just Momo it. And when you really want that beautiful new blouse too, just Momo it. And when you won't get that trim, when you go get fresh to impress, you know who, just Momo it. And when you need to pay that your utility bill and domestic staff set, just Momo it. And when you want send love to the family for back home, just Momo it. So many ways there. When you go feel use your MTN Momo wallet, make payments with scan to pay. When you go use the QR code, or you go feel